Greetings! In today's video, I am going to attempt to dissect and explain the thought process behind a build of a ship that I made. This is a build I made a long time ago. However, the basic principles that hold it together are going to very much apply to any builds that are going on in Trailmakers nowadays. The main focus of this video will not be the internals of the ship, as I already have made a video detailing those. This will be centered around how I achieved the shape that this ship presents. So, first of all, there are three moving components on the exterior shell of the ship that must be made note of. The first two are obviously the rotating servos that provide the exhaust. The rotating servos turn the smoke generators that create this exhaust effect. And then there is the opening door, which is as such, and it allows for the player to essentially walk out of the ship like that. That is simply on hinges. Those are the two moving components of the ship while it is active. Now, we shall move on to overviewing the general shape. This is the barren shape of the ship. There's no internals, there's no paint job, there's no turrets, there's no artifacts on the outside. The shape speaks for itself. One thing to note about this is if we pull it into the build mode, it is very empty on the inside. There's no spare complexity to fill out its insides to make an engine bay or crew quarters or a cargo bay. It's got a lot of large void spaces, and it has a few supporting pillars that make sure that it's actually all connected on the inside and that its structure holds together. The second part of the overview focuses on the large panels. I've highlighted orange the 2x4 blocks and green the 4x8 blocks. As is visible, these take up most of the ship's components because they are the most efficient way to achieve a large shape without consuming so much complexity that you have none left. Then painted red are the mechanical components, so hinges and pistons. Therefore, starting from the back, these two hinges fold the vertical panel in. These large hinges on the inside fold the bottom panel towards the top. The hinges inside the top canopy will fold its side panels towards the rest of the ship. Then there are pistons on the outsides and connected to a hinge. The piston will pull the main block in and the hinge will rotate this entire side panel. And then this is an entire set. These two pistons pull the side panel in and these two hinges rotate it to put it at an angle. This gives obviously this result. And we will move on to the medium-sized blocks, quote unquote. So a lot of wedges, all colored differently. These also compose quite the bulk of the ship. Because being larger wedges, it is beneficial to use them more often so that they fill out more gaps without using so much complexity. They mainly function to fill out the gaps in between the larger panels to create a cohesive shape rather than a blocky one. Lastly, all the pieces highlighted are the small details. As is visible, there's very few of them, used as sparingly as possible while not sacrificing too much detailing. Of course, the pipes in the front are interesting. There's a few 1x2 blocks that have to be used because nothing else will fit. 1x4 blocks, small wedges of various shapes and sizes, and so on. This is the overview of these small blocks in the build mode, and there's just very few of them. The most problematic section is probably the door, because it cannot be using any connection points towards the sides and the top. On the other side, it's obviously just large panels. And there you go. That's my overview and dissection of the shell of this ship that I made. I hope the video was helpful. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I will see you in the future.